Welcome, Royal Family. You tuned into Healing Queens, the podcast, where the focus is motivation, support, and guidance for the growth of our queens. I'm Emma E2K, your certified healing life coach. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yes, we made it. Episode 57, y'all. Ooh-wee. So today, this episode is sponsored by healingqueens.org. Healing Queens with a Z.org. Make sure you follow the website underneath. It's also sponsored by As She Speaks Coaching and E2K Worldwide LLC, E2K Worldwide Services LLC. Thank you guys for the support and the love. Always, if you want to sponsor, make sure you contact us at the website below, healingqueens.org. Today's topic is healing through writing. Healing through writing, y'all. Like, oh my God. I don't even know how many times me sitting down writing saved my life. I mean, saved my life. I didn't want to talk about this topic alone. So, I had to invite one of my queens. Although I don't know her for long, I know her for a couple of years. I met her actually, me hosting an open mic and her coming through and me witnessing her talent. Since then, we built a relationship and a rapport. Ended up now we're working together. So that's pretty dope. And when I thought about this topic to because I was thinking about, should I, I want to give you guys some tools in healing, right? Because we all heal and process healing and brokenness differently. I mean, automatically, it's like, boom, she came to mind. So I invited her. She accepted my invite. I'm excited for this episode. So without any further ado, man, please give it up for my friend, my queen. We're going to give her a queen salute with the poet. Yeah! Hey, girl. How you doing?
Good. Awesome.
Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Like, I'm super excited.
Yes.
Thank you for accepting the invitation, by the
Oh,
way.
of course.
Yes, I'm super excited. So, healing through writing.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not a stranger to it, right? You're not a
No.
stranger to it, right? Being a teacher, being a spoken word artist, this is what you do. This is how you connect. This is how,
Yes.
right? Expressing your feelings. Before we even go into that, why do you
Mm-hmm.
think it's important, or why has it been important for you?
That is a great question. And for me, well, in the beginning, I started out writing, it was just a hobby. I just was like, okay, this is something that I like to do. But, as, I got older and, I started having a lot of more life experiences, that was my outlet, to release, emotion, to release pain, even happiness, sometimes. And it really grew on me, to, okay, well, if this is what I like to do, how can I put it together, to get a feeling across so other people can understand. And that's kind of where, that came into play. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm gonna, try poetry and spoken word, because I always had a way with words. Like I said, I'm a teacher, so I can mumble up some words together. And then, once I did, of my first poetry or my first open mic, they was kind of really feeling what I had to say. So I was like, okay, so I then made it, more than a hobby. This is something that I really love to do. I can, kind of make this like a career path for me. And then, like I said, once, I started living and I started experiencing, life and, getting hurt, and trying to figure out ways to channel that hurt, in a positive way, without, turning to drugs or alcohol or, stuff like that on a downwards. I kept it positive and I said, okay, how can I channel this hurt and channel this pain so people can understand, there's other ways around to heal. And that's where poetry came in for me. That was my outlet, to release some of that pain and to release some of those emotions, on a positive aspect of it. So that's where that kind of came into play with my life and how it, helped me to heal through the aspect of writing.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that you, brought that up as far as you channeling,
Yes.
those negative feelings, because as we all know, when we go through, broken hearts or disappointments or any of that stuff that hurts us, disappointment, we automatically go to the negative, right? We want to, do things that can, maybe affect other people, but definitely affect us, right?
Yes.
It can come back to us, whether we have a legal issue or, what I'm saying, or harming us or harming someone. And that takes strength.
It does, yeah.
So, I don't want people to think just because we made the decision to sit and write our emotions, don't think they're not soft about us now.
Right.
That takes strength.
It does. It takes a lot of strength. It takes courage, not only to write about these emotions, but to actually put them out there, for others to hear or to read about, or however, you channel your emotions, through the arts in any kind of way, whether it be dance, singing, painting, if you're a producer and, you want to give your song to someone else of something that you've gone through, there's so many ways that you can channel your emotions, through the art within itself as a whole, as a collective, because a lot of people, some people, they don't know how to write poems, but they know how to sing. So that's how they channel, their pain or their emotions, or, they don't know how to sing, but they know how to dance, so they're going to put all of their emotion into dancing, they're going to pour out whatever emotion that they're feeling through the art of poetry or through the art of dance or singing or, just the arts within itself. And I feel, within that is a way to release, to get off some of that pressure, some of that pain, some of those emotions. If you don't know how to deal with it, it's a coping mechanism, so to speak. And, for me as a writer, that's my go-to thing. Whatever, somebody could come tell me, the best news that I may get, in a long time, I'm going to write about it, because not only is this something, that made me feel good, but I want to have, memories and ways that I can look back on that I poem, and this is how I felt, so whatever I feel, no matter what it is, I'm getting my pen, I'm getting my pad, and I'm writing about it, because it gives me, an outlet in that moment. And it also, God forbid, if anything happens to my mind, anything like that, I have all of these memories and poems and books, to look back on, because it's just an outlet. It's a way to think back, like, okay, this is what I was feeling at this moment. And, it just puts yourself back in that mental space of where you were. And it just allows you to feel exactly how you felt at that moment. Sometimes it may be bad, sometimes it may be good, but at that time, that's what you were feeling, and you needed that. You needed to feel exactly how you felt in that moment. And that's where I am with every poem that I write. And that's why I don't take lightly to emotions or, how I feel. I just kind of let whatever happen, let whatever flow. I let my emotions get the best of me. Yes, because that is how I feel at that present time. And if I don't act on that right then and there, then, those emotions, they get coddled up, or, they get, brought into something else. And, that can be something bad, because if I don't feel with how I want to feel at that moment, other stuff can start triggering, so I always have a pad with me. I always have a pen with me, because you never know when a poem gonna come to you, or me.
I sleep with my pad. I'll be having a pad around the bed, like just in case I dream of something. So I want to let people know, like, so when we talk about writing, right, and even poetry, you don't get caught up in trying to rhyme and match. Because a lot of people do that and be like, oh, well, I don't know how to write, and I don't know how to listen. You know your ABCs, like you know how to write, right? You know how to write. You know what you're feeling.
That's
I am
it.
upset at this moment. You're right. I am upset at this moment. you just, all you have to do is just allow yourself to let it be. Everyone is a writer. We all write at one point or another.
That's my favorite quotes to say. When people say, I'm not a poet, everybody is a poet,
and don't know it.
And they know it. You don't have to rhyme. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people, they think poetry is all rhyming, or they have to rhyme this word with that word, or this word has to sound like that word. No. Poetry is whatever you're feeling, really. And it's all about how you deliver your message. It's all about how you communicate with your audience. It's not just everything is rhyming, or the day has to go with this. And people think poetry is the sun when I rise and when I wake up in the morning. No, not poetry. I mean, that's poetry.
Right.
But on the other side of it, you got the spoken word aspect of it. And that's, spoken word is raw, it's gritty, it's cut to the bone, is exactly what you need to hear in that moment. And the same thing goes for with poetry, but it's all about where you are in that moment. It doesn't have to rhyme, it doesn't have to make sense, because poetry is a whole bunch of mumble jumble, and it's all about how you deliver the message. And people gonna listen no matter what.
Right.
That's how I look at it. I have a purple shirt on that says, I'm just a poet, a person over exaggerating thoughts. That's what a poet is. Because when you really think about it, if you really listen to some of these poets, some of them, they have a method with their poetry, and, they stick into one scale, they, exactly what they're talking about throughout their whole poem. But then there's some poets out here, you'd be like, huh? What are you talking about? But that was a good poem, but I didn't know what you were talking about. But that's what it is. A person over exaggerating thoughts. And they, the guts enough to get up, on stage, or, or wherever that they're, advertising their poetry, they had the guts enough to basically expel their heart to you. And that's all that a poet is. Somebody's just over exaggerating thoughts.
I like that. I like that. Now, with that being said too, like, so you can write your emotions almost like a diary type. And if you don't necessarily have to share it with no one, right? Like, you can just keep those thoughts to yourself. But I think that that's a good tool. Even if you don't want to share it, at least put it down on paper. So you don't go make the mistake and go make that phone call or text somebody and say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or post the wrong thing.
Right.
And then you can't take that back. Because then now you're really thinking, you're like, I should have never done that.
I should have just wrote this down and kept that to myself. I've done that so many times. I'll be to posting something. I'm just gonna write about it. I'm gonna just write it down, and maybe tomorrow it'll turn into a whole poem, and I won't even have to worry about it no more. I'll just do that poem, or it'll be in the tip of my mind. I want to say it so bad. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna write about it, and I'm just to myself, because that saves so many people, and nobody know about it. Just you, and then 2 days later, you be like, really? I should have never even did that. I'm glad I didn't make that post. I'm glad I didn't go out and do that, because I'm glad I just took a moment and just wrote it out to myself, kept a journal, or, a diary, or even just a notepad that you keep to yourself to specifically for those things. I'm just going to write about this real quick because I don't want to say it to nobody. I'm going to just keep it to myself. That's a good mechanism to have too, to keep yourself.
Yes.
To keep yourself out of trouble,
Right. And and also, I'm going to challenge some people, do that, get a journal, get a notebook, and just try it for yourself. And you'll see how it really, really works. Like when you're going through stuff, just jot it down, write it down. Listen, keep it in the closet, in the drawer, put it away. Don't tell nobody. But if you wait a couple of days from that day, all those emotions and those feelings are going to change, and then you have time to process. You have time to process and make correct decisions where you can go back and look and be like, wow, if I would have said that, this whole thing, I could have lost my job. I could have lost my friendship. It could have been so damaging. But instead I wrote it down and I held it and I waited. So I'm just challenging those that are looking for certain tools of healing, this is one of them. This is a big one. This is a big one. You truly can heal through writing. I mean, try it. Whether it be a poem or whether it be you want to write a book or a novel or a movie or whatever, or just your feelings where you're saying, I feel like crap today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
And I personally, can attest to that. I started writing a lot more after, I went through a heartbreak and after I had my daughter, just life was happening. And I just dove into poetry, dove into spoken word, dove into, putting words down on a paper. That was my healing process, getting those emotions out, and it turned into a book. Well, though I started writing poems, and those poems turned into a book, and that book, is in the works now, but it's turned into an album, so all of these things, provoked me to write. And I won't say, I had to go through that, in order for me to do those things, but having those things happen to me provoked me, to keep writing, because life isn't going to stop just because I got my heart broke. Life isn't going to stop, just because you didn't get that job. Life isn't going to stop, just because, somebody made you mad. Life is not going to stop. So because life is not going to stop, you have to find ways to keep going, going. And that was one thing for me. The biggest thing for me in my healing process was to keep writing. That was my saving grace for me. A lot of people, have different tools and different ways, but, writing is one tool that is the biggest outlet of, I would say, any type of hurt, any type of pain, because it's raw emotions, it's raw feelings, it's everything that you are going through mentally, emotionally, physically. You are the one that are dealing with these types of things. So I feel if you write, it will ease a lot of that pressure. It will bring your mind to ease. Even if you just wake up in the morning and just write, good morning, gorgeous, good morning, beautiful. That simple stuff like that, small things. It's the small things that go a long way.
A grateful journal. So I love grateful journals. Like I always recommend them to my queens. Like when they're going through stuff, the first thing I'll be like, listen, you got to get a grateful journal, because when you start being grateful for the little things, right? Because sometimes we take so much stuff for granted. What about the fact that God woke you up? How about that? Let's start there. Let's start that you woke up today and you made it to that wake up list, because there's people that didn't. We know, because we've been dealing with that for the last 2.5 years of every day hearing about somebody that did not make it. So let's start, being grateful for that. And the fact that we have, somewhere to live, and there's people struggling about where to live, that we like that just that we can, that we can make a decision to know, what, I feel like wearing that. Some people that don't have a choice to say, oh, I want to wear this, I want to wear, they just have to wear that, or you know what I'm saying, or eat that.
Yeah, and start breaking it down like that. You really be like, wow, I have a lot to be grateful for. You don't think about stuff like that because it's just, the norm for you. It's everyday life. You have it, but some people that don't have it. And, we have to be grateful for the things that we have, because anything can be taken away from us, at any moment. So we have to stop and think, okay, God, I thank you for this. I thank you for that. I thank you for the small things, because it's the small things, that allow us to have the big things.
Right. Because if he can't trust us in the small things, he's going to be like, listen, daughter, I love you and all that, but I don't think you're ready for what I got for you.
First of all, I told you to have faith as small as a mustard seed. That's small. That's very small. If you can't even have that, and that's just the faith aspect of it. How is he going to trust you with something big if you can't have the simplest, smallest thing he asks of you to do? And if you have that, it's just like he's going to be like, no, You're not gonna get the big gift because you
Right.
can't even show me that you can handle the small gift.
And that's facts. And that's
Yeah.
facts. So, with this topic and this episode, really what we would like to do is just motivate you and encourage you to find the tools to heal.
Yes.
If it's not writing, then cool. Find that niche. Find what you're good at. If you want to sew clothes, crochet, do
Anything.
hair, nails, just find that outlet for you.
Hmm.
Find that go-to when you feeling, like you're alone, no one understands you, or there's those spirits that are not of God that want to have
Right.
conversations with you. You got to be like, let me
Mhm.
start writing, or let me start singing, or let me start creating or producing, or whatever it
I
is that's your gift.
word creating, because a lot of people they just don't know, what their niche is.
Mm,
And creating is, when you look at it and when you think about just the word creating itself, is it can be anything. So you have to really just find what you're creative at, you
right.
know, anything, but
And
try.
you're creative at something, because
Yeah.
Elohim is the
Yeah.
biggest creator of them all, and he's given all of us gifts. We just got to
Yeah.
figure them out.
Have to figure out what we're good at. And sometimes that's not easy, for some people. They
Right.
really don't. But it's, if it makes you smile, if it puts, joy in your heart, if you can see yourself doing that, without somebody having to pay you for it, then that's
Mm,
usually you're
that's good.
gifted. That's usually what you're good at. If you can wake up and you can just do something and people wondering, how you do that? Can you show me? That's usually what you're good at, and you
Right.
probably don't even know it.
Right.
So time, to first of all learn yourself, to try find out what you're good at, find out what you like, because I didn't just wake up, hey, okay, I like poetry, I'm gonna do this. I really had to be like, okay, well, it was actually, I was going into middle school, and usually in middle school, that's when they start having talent shows and they start having all of these, little competitions, little stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was just kind of like, well, what am I good at? Like, what the heck am I good at? I see dancing, I see people, drawing, and I see people doing this. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm good at something, but what is it? And I sat down, I learned myself, I watched movies and this and that. And I was just like, I think I like writing. And it
Mm,
was just, and I wrote my first poem at 10 years old called
mm,
Love. Little me, 10 years old, writing my first poem about love. First
right.
of all,
What you know
who,
about love?
and it what I thought love was
Right.
at 10 years old.
Right.
And entered it into, our little competition that we had going into middle school, and I recited it. And the feedback that I got from the audience, they really loved it for the aspect of what it was and where it came from.
Mm,
By 10 years old, my aspect of what love was, was different from what an audience member had in their 30s. But,
right.
you know, from me and my point of view at 10 years old, I was able to get their attention, to capture their attention and to hold their attention span to think, okay, my mind in my 30s is connecting with this little 10-year-old girl when she's talking about love. So
Oh,
it's really have to just, learn yourself, take time to, get to know you. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to always be in a crowd, or you don't always have to be in an audience. You don't always have to be, take time to be by yourself, to learn you, figure out what you like to do, and sometimes that can be anything. Be creative, just know you, and take time to learn about you.
and being okay in the space of being disappointed, being hurt,
Right. Mm.
knowing that these things are part of life and they're gonna happen. And guess what, y'all? A lot of time it happens more than once,
Or and
right?
people always, not really make fun of me, but they always say, because I'm in the process of right now, transitioning, going through, my heartbreak and all of that. And I can speak about it because I'm very transparent about that, because that's where I am in the moment, or where I was in my healing stage. And, people always say, oh, it's your first heartbreak. You're going to have plenty more. And it's just like, what? I don't want to go through this again.
You have more material in the other one.
Yes. People always keep
Wow.
living, keep living, keep living. You're going to go through way more than that.
Right.
And it's just, when you're in the moment of that, you don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear that.
When you think
and you
about
can't
it,
even understand, and you can't even fathom that, because you're like, wait a minute, I'm going through this right now. You talk about I got to do this again. Like,
right?
What?
And people just always say, keep living. You still young. Keep living, keep living. And when we think about it, that's all that life is. It's gonna keep happening, keep happening. You just got to keep living and live. Whatever happens, let it be. I'm not saying, be in that, for forever, but allow yourself to feel however you feel in that moment, and if it didn't kill you, it made you stronger.
Right.
Get up,
learn from it, grow from it.
and, an opportunity where you can learn from, good and bad. God never puts more on you than what you can bear. So get up and keep fighting, keep going. It's not a war, it's a battle, and you just got to keep going, because usually people don't understand, the difference between a war and a battle. And I like to think of it, a war is something that you are preparing for, you're preparing for, and you don't know who's going to win. But a battle, you can kind of stand your ground, in a battle. You know what's about to happen, kind of. You can take aim, you can do this. But a war, you don't know where the shot's coming from. You ducking and dodging, and and you're in a war. That's not. I don't like to look at life like that. Life is a battle, not a war.
Right.
You got to be however you please.
Right.
And
It's like levels. Level 1, level
that's
2.
that's a war is just like you don't know where stuff coming from, and you constantly moving, and you constantly doing this, but it's just like you got to prepare yourself for the battle, not the war.
So even when some people being in the war, right? Let's talk about that just a quick second. Even
Yes.
in the midst of your war, you can still find moments that you can still write.
You can
right?
still you can do.
Because if you haven't tried writing, I just want to encourage you, if you're watching this episode, please share it, right, subscribe. But aside from that, if you get anything from this, is really to let you know that this is a powerful tool for you. It's free. Get a pen and a pad.
Yes.
Make it pretty for yourself. Do decorate it or something, because that's kind of cool when you take it, you personalize it for you, and you put stickers and whatever it is that you want, that when you it's like a happy place. So this episode is to encourage you to try healing through writing. Whether it be a poem, whether it be a journal, whether it be a grateful journal, a regular book. You don't have to go spend no $10 nowhere. At the Dollar Tree, a regular novel, something that really, that kind of looks cutesy for you, right? Because us girls, we like cutesy stuff. But you guys can have just like regular pads and jot things down, try it, just meet that challenge to heal through writing.
I always like to say, a lot of writers, they always say, well, I have writer's block. I don't believe in writer's block. I just feel like, life hasn't really, threw any challenging things at you to make you feel like you have to write. But I don't believe in writer's block, because something has always happened. There's always something to write about. There's always something to write about, whether it's good or bad, this or that, write. I just encourage everybody to just get something, and whether if it's one word a day, that one, those 2 words can turn into 3, and then before you know it, you have a whole book full of words, and just words. And if you can go there and look at what you wrote, the first day, something and then skim through in the middle of the pages, you'll have maybe 4 or 5 words on the next paper, and then at the end of that, eventually that's going to be filled up with either poems or words or affirmations or
Mm,
and I'm real big on affirmations because those are real. Those are, quotes that will really get you throughout the day. Even if you have to write down affirmations, you don't have to necessarily come up with them. They can be affirmations, that you read and that you remember, and it pertains to you. So you write those down. I just encourage everybody to just write. Writing can be healing, writing can be therapeutic, writing can be so many things, but most of all, writing is good for healing. And that's what I just believe. And I highly stick to that because when you write, you are healing so many emotions, so many, even it even gets as deep as, you writing, to break generational curses because
mm,
sometimes people don't know how to talk about things, so they write, you know, like I read this one thing. I'm like, I have a daughter now, and I read this thing, they began this mother and daughter thing, where the mother told the daughter, you can write in this journal whatever you feel, whatever you're thinking, I'm not going to change how I feel for you as my daughter. I will always love you. And, that gave the daughter a little more trust, a little more comfort to know, okay, well, I might be scared to say this to mommy, but I can write about it and she's going to read it. And eventually,
mm. Wow.
and that alone is breaking generational curses because a lot of people, they don't know how to talk.
They don't know how to talk or
Right,
communicate. Yeah.
right may be the only thing that can get them to a point of communication.
Hmm.
And it stuck out for me because a lot of us, we don't know how to communicate, or we don't know the tools, how to properly communicate. And writing, bing, 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 that's a form of communication, even though
So I'm
you're
glad that you
right.
said that because my mother have said that a couple of times. Like when you can't get through to people, because sometimes when two people are talking, right, one gotta listen and one gotta right talk. But if y'all both talking, like then nobody's listening. And but when
Mm-hmm.
you're reading, like when somebody writes it and you're reading, you have to do this, use
Yep.
this, right? Use your
Mm-hmm.
eyes and read. And you can't, there's no talking back. You can't answer back. You have to
Right.
and absorb it, right? and,
Mm-hmm.
and and read it. So that's always a good thing when you can't communicate right. Sit
Mm-hmm.
down and write somebody a letter. Like just write them like, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
And writing letters.
Hmm.
But first of all, it shows the thought, I thought so much about you, not only just to send you a text. Everybody has phones, social media these days, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write you a letter because first of all, that takes time. That allows you to see I took time
Time
out of
for
my
you. Yeah.
to sit down, write this letter, whether it be, 4 lines, 3 lines, 4 pages, 3 pages, whatever. I
Sis,
didn't text you, hey, I need to talk to you, and that's it.
sis,
No,
I'm with you on that. Every Christmas, I still mail out handwritten
that-
Christmas cards.
the handwriting. It's just
Okay.
yeah,
I may get three and I'm doing 100 and something. Not that I do it for to get anything back, but because
right.
that's just me. And I get not everybody is into that, but as a writer,
Mhm,
that's
yeah,
huge for me. That's
right.
me showing you love, like taking the time to actually knowing even your address. Because I know, people be like, why you want my address for? I ain't gonna
Right.
send you a bill.
Right. Things go behind that, but don't think about, but because that's just the times that we live in today, everything
Yeah,
is so fast. People don't take time to say, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write this out for them so they could see that I actually took time to think about them. I actually took time out of my busy day to let them know, oh, I not just because I got pretty handwriting. No,
I
but
don't
I
have pretty handwriting, so it's from the heart.
I thought about it too. And no matter how ugly my handwriting is, I still took this time to let you know
Right,
that I out of my day.
right.
And a lot of people, they don't. cherish those little things like that no more because of the society that we live in right now.
Right. And there goes another power of writing.
Yes.
So a lot of people were calling me back like, wow, Emma, yo, thanks. Like nobody does that anymore. Like, because, for each individual person, I didn't just write happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Like
Right.
some people, hey, think about you. How's your kids or your daughter, your son, blah, blah. Like, little notes or whatever, like extra notes that this is specifically for you.
Right.
I'm not just copying and just, and not only that, the cards were different. I didn't send everybody the same card. That takes time.
Yeah, you thought into, okay, this person likes this person likes that. Oh, I know he has a dog, so I'm gonna get him something with a dog on it.
Correct.
It's just things that will make them say, oh, I know this is specifically for me.
Correct.
Nobody took
so
time
so I want to share, because I know some of those people are going to see this podcast. I just want to share that feeling that you got. Is what we're talking about as far as sitting down to write something, because even if it's not for you, you can do it for others, and that's part of healing.
It is.
That's part of healing. That's part of healing. Try writing somebody a letter today. I mean, really physically writing somebody and sending something out, a card. Like it don't have to be a whole 2 pages or whatever, but a phrase, just a confirmation, or just anything, that affirmation, like, hey, you're amazing, you're beautiful, hey queen, whatever, like, like it will mean so much to the person that receives it. So,
and that's crazy that you said that, because it just brings me back to remember on my dad's 50th birthday, and no, it was on his 50th birthday and on Father's Day. I handwritten him a letter. That was the first time I ever wrote him a handwritten letter. The first one I did on Father's Day, I think it was like 3 pages. Just the Father's Day one was basically me saying, hey dad, thank you for being a great dad. Thank you for being a part of my life. Just going on and on about stuff I remembered, when I was little, and sent it to him. And I didn't tell him I was sending it to him. I just sent it to him, and I waited for him to call me to let me know, that he had gotten it, because I to, get that full effect of, okay, well, write me a letter. What is this? And he was reading and he called me, and I can just tell as soon as he answered the phone, he was just in awe, because, my dad's older, so the thing that I put that effort into, especially in this generation, nobody's doing that. It was just the thought that I took time to write a letter. He was just crying the whole time because he just couldn't believe.
Oh my goodness.
The thought. And I was just like, yeah, dad, I just wanted to take time to really do something meaningful. I didn't want to send you anything. I didn't want to buy you anything. And I know this, he was like, he put that letter in a frame, and he framed it, all 4 pages or 3.5 pages. He framed it.
Wow.
Right on his shelf, in his office. He's the dean at a private school. So everybody comes through his office, they're not going to read the whole, letter, but it's right there. And he's like, yeah, he's proud of that.
Right.
And better than any gift I could have brought him, it's just always the little things that make
those personal touches. Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't even know, that it meant that much to him. But, it's just little things like that where you don't know where it can really mean so much to somebody.
Right.
And that's, take those times to make it personal. You take those times, to let them know you're thinking about them, or, it's just like the little things like that, because you just never know how little that thing is to you, how big it can be to somebody else.
That's true. Sis, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in with me and talking about this topic. We're always finding here ways to motivate and empower everyone that watches the podcast. Yes, this podcast says Healing Queens. So yes, most of our watchers and listeners are women, but we do have some kings that do support the podcast. And so, whether it be that you're watching to get to know, the women in your life much better, whether it be for your mom, your wife, daughter, cousin, all the queens that you have in your life, and you can understand them more, or you can share these podcasts, because if you can't say the word, be like, wait a minute, watch this podcast here. She'll tell you. We appreciate you. Make sure you share and all that. Also follow it. We're going to give you all her information below. Make sure you follow her in all her social medias. Is there any last words that you want to say to the audience?
Yes, definitely. First I want to just say, to reiterate the topic of tonight, keep writing, start it, don't not do it because you don't feel like it. Writing that one word down a day can change your whole day. I just want to encourage you guys to try writing, healing through healing, and see how that can affect your healing process. See how that can benefit you from the process of from being hurt. Try writing. I just want to just keep saying it. Try writing, because you never know where it will lead you. Like I started out, like I said in the beginning, writing my first poem about love, and I am a 2-time self-published author now. So that one poem sparked a big thing in me, and like I said, now I'm on my 3rd book now as we speak.
How can they get your books? How can they get your books they want to support?
Amazon. My first book is entitled Behind the Mic, poems and short stories by myself, Whitney Mays. And the second book is entitled Interruption of the Heart, poems and short stories by Whitney Mays. And everything is on Amazon. You guys can follow me on Instagram at QueenBadu_wit. And you can follow me to see all shows that I have coming up. I'm always posting upcoming shows, or where I'll be performing live. So just follow me. And on my Facebook is Badu Mays. And I'm always posting on my social medias, letting my audience.
Please make sure to follow her and update with her, because she's always, I'm telling you, this girl is busy. I'm just lucky that she took I got to get her. We have to do it a little late, but because I have to put my kid to sleep. She got to put her kid to sleep. So, but we made it happen. Please follow her. She's amazing. If you guys have never seen her perform, do so. Support the book. Support your local artists, man. Because without the support of you guys, we can't continue to be creative and do what we enjoy doing, right?
Right.
And so with that, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Stay amazing. Stay blessed. Continue to adjust that crown on your head that was placed already there. Ooh, girl, that's right. Walk in that royalness. We thank you. We love you. And to the next time, guys, thank you for the support. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, share. Share this podcast with somebody that you feel needs it, or even if they don't, just share it anyway. Because we got some good stuff here, and without y'all sharing, we can't keep going, right? So we thank you for the support. HealingQueenz.org. If you want to make a donation, at the end of the day, Healing Queenz is a nonprofit organization where we do life with women that are going through crisis, before, during, and after crisis. We go with the generosity of the people. So again, we thank you. And until the next time, y'all, peace, stay blessed, be amazing. Be that light, man. Be that light.